Welcome to the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show. Here they are, the original Mayhem Behind the Mic crew, the BS Boyz.
Hello and welcome to the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show. We are the BS Boyz, cluttering up the internet airwaves once again. Let's leave spring and let's jump forward a bit. All 5 teams in NORPAC have released the dates for their main camps.
Yes, they have, and that's to bring the teams down to the 25-man roster under the USA Hockey rules. Starting out with Eugene, they're going to have their main camp August 20th through the 22nd. Glacier Nationals will be having their main camp in Colorado Springs August 3rd through the 5th.
And then Tri-Cities, the newest addition to NORPAC, August 3 through 5. Vancouver Victory, we don't know because they've listed invitation only, so we have no idea when the Victory will be having their main camp. Then the West Sound Warriors, August 22nd through the 25th. Now, these teams all obviously will be having some type of open camps prior to their main camps. If you're interested in attending any of those, you can certainly check out the team's websites to get the dates and the contact information that you may need to attend one of those open camps and hopefully get a main camp invite. Lots of stuff going on in NORPAC. They're actually having the USA Hockey meeting right now, and a lot of stuff should come out of that. We will be talking to Derek Donald, the new NORPAC commissioner here, probably within the next week and get that interview up as well. But looking for all kinds of information as the league's down to 5 teams.
5 teams, which makes it difficult to play. You're playing the same 4 teams all year long.
That would be just brutal.
Well, you know how it is when you're playing a tournament over a weekend. We've seen this over and over again. When you're playing the same team 2 and 3 times in a weekend, the teams just get to a point where they're frustrated with each other, and it gets really violent at sometimes.
Well, and that's okay. I don't really care about that. But how do you market a league when you only have 4 of the teams you play? Fans get bored seeing the same teams come in all the time. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how NORPAC deals with this whole 5-team league. The whole point here is exposure, trying to get scouts and college recruiters to come talk to these kids and look at the kids. 5 teams is not a very big league. Now, the Seattle Totems and Southern Oregon Spartans, well, Yellowstone Quake as well, but Seattle and Southern have left NORPAC. They joined, actually, the Western States Hockey League, and right now, actually, Seattle has an open camp going on as we speak up there at Seattle, and we'll be talking to Coach Mike Murphy here in a little bit to get some information about that. But the realignment of the Western States Leagues, they've added, 6 teams this year, and that brings the total to 22 teams in the Western States as NORPAC drops to 5. Western States obviously is AAU, not USA Hockey. So Seattle and Southern took off. They're now in the Western States, and the realignment is all settled. It's been released, and we know who's playing where.
Yeah, we've got a Pacific Division, which includes 6 teams, Northwest Division, which includes Seattle, Idaho, Junior Steelheads, the Salt Lake City Moose, Southern Oregon Spartans, and the Ogden Mustangs. We've got the Mountain Division, which has 6 teams, the Midwest Division, which has 5 teams. So they're really stacked with a lot of teams. So it's going to be interesting to watch to see how this all plays out this year. Now, we know that the Seattle is going to be doing a lot of traveling between probably California, Utah, Idaho. So we can always ask Murph how that's going to work once we get him on the line. And then they've got the Western States Shootout over Christmas in Vegas.
Yeah, those dates are actually December 18th through the 22nd. Now, speaking about scheduling, Seattle actually opens up against Southern Oregon. Now, these are the 2 teams that battled for the Cascade Cup when those 2 teams were in NORPAC. Southern taking that series 3-0, and that's September 21 and 22nd. So September 21st and 22nd, Southern rolls up to Seattle, renews the rivalry. They don't get away from each other. Then Seattle goes down to Southern October 5th and 6th. Then the fun begins. Then Seattle gets to see Idaho. Then they travel to Ontario, Salt Lake City, Ogden. then back to Southern Oregon again. They are going to have a very busy last part of October and the first part of November. So there is a lot of travel involved for the Seattle Totems this year, as will be the Spartans.
No, absolutely. Seattle's got 7 weeks that they're going to be gone out of the first 11.
That's insane.
That's a lot of mileage.
That is. Hopefully the bus has been updated and is mechanically sound, because these kids are going to be traveling an awful lot. Now, the way this works, especially for the Northwest Division, they obviously have 5 teams, and the Midwest Division has 5 teams as well. Seattle will be going down deep into California. They will be seeing each of their own division rivals 6 times throughout the year, 3 at home, 3 on the road. When they do travel outside the division, I do believe they play a 3-game set. Say they go to Ontario, they play 3 games down there. Then another division team will come up to, say, Seattle, play a 3-game set there. So they do have to travel far, but this is the good thing about it, though. The fans get to see so many different teams in the Western states. Idaho, who actually won the Thorne Championship in the Western States Hockey League, and it's been said before, I do believe Murph said it in a prior interview, it was the best Junior A team, Tier 3, he's ever seen play.
Idaho.
Yes. So they will get to see Idaho in Seattle quite a few times. So that's going to be a lot of excitement for the fans, not only in Seattle, but in Southern Oregon, to see a lot of new teams this year. And it starts early, September
21st and 22nd, when the Spartans roll into town. Yeah, that's right.
Into Seattle, yep. So the season begins at the end of September. It doesn't seem like it's really that far away. If you'd like to get a hold of us, and we'd love for you to do so.
How do they do that?
thebsboys.wordpress.com. Follow us on our blog. You can send us an email, bsboys@live.com. That's boys with a Z. Or you can always call or leave us a text at the line of BS. 971-258-2840 is the number to get a hold of us. If you'd like to be on the show, let us know.
We'd love to have you.
We have no limitations. We have no restrictions here. We do want to thank juniorhockey.com as well. They have been great putting all of the videos up there as we have connected with Stephen Heisler down there, who happens to be in Mexico right now.
Yeah, what a life.
Life is good for Stephen, but we do want to thank juniorhockey.com as well. Now, that's going to bring us to talking to Mike Murphy. We're going to get Mike Murphy on the line here and find out how their open camp is actually going right now. So let's go ahead and talk to Mike Murphy. Murph, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. So you guys have an open camp going on right now up there in Seattle. You were on the ice last night, and then you're on again today, Saturday, twice. Give us your overall impression of how you think it's going, and what exactly is it that you're looking for from some of these kids attending the open camp?
It's going pretty good. We ended up with 55 total guys out for camp. I think we've got about 7 or 8 guys from last year sprinkled in, and then a lot of young guys. But we're hoping to sign, maybe 5 or 6 guys. We've got a couple showcases coming up. Obviously the big one in Vegas and another one out east. We probably need, theoretically somewhere around 15 guys. So it's a big weekend. It's a lot of young guys that are probably a year away, but we're getting them on the ice and kind of showing them a little bit about what the Totems are doing, and hopefully down the road we'll get a few of those guys, and then some of the older guys that are trying out. A couple of them are ready to make the jump up, and we got some guys from Alaska, a couple guys from California, a couple guys from Tri-Cities, a couple guys from Oregon, guys that we don't know from out of town. So we were hoping for a few more, but with high school graduation and everything going on, then it's never really a perfect weekend. So we're pleased so far. We skated last night for a couple hours, and we've been on the ice this morning. We've got a goalie's only shooting hour coming up here at 3:30, and then the whole squad back out there at 5:30. So we'll pare it down a little bit. And tomorrow morning we have the annual green and white game, which will be a real game with refs and everything. So that's kind of where we're at.
How many goalies did you end up with for the weekend?
There's 7 goalies here, but obviously Sean and Bryce are here. So really 5 that we're looking at. Our 2 guys are here. Not sure, where everybody will shake out. But I thought usually we're at 10 or 12 goalies. So goalies were down, but I think a lot of guys kind of were assuming that Sean and Bryce, if they're there, they probably want to go somewhere else because they're not going to make it or get to play much. So having returning goalies is obviously a plus, but it doesn't do well for you in open camps when people know those guys are still eligible.
Well, also, the possibility of possibly some tryouts down the road. Obviously, Fink played with Topeka last year as a call-up. What's the possibility of Fink possibly going to the NA, though?
I think there's probably a pretty good chance that he could find himself starting out the year on Topeka. I know he kind of went up there, just met them in Wenatchee when they had an injury last year when we weren't playing on a weekend. He ended up actually going into the game, I think a couple minutes in, and ended up only giving up one goal, which his own team knocked in, and I think it went 7 or 8 rounds in the shootout. So he made a good impression. They had him out to practice before and after nationals. So I think there's a pretty good chance that Bryce could start the year on that team, and Sean would be our guy, and we've got to find a backup. We're not sure yet whether we're going to carry 3. I think we're probably going to go with 2 guys, but so we're kind of in the market for a younger backup goaltender. Somebody to bring along a little bit. So we've got a couple guys here that are possibilities. We're still looking, though, too.
So you had Kyle Blondin picked up in the NA draft here recently. So how's Blondie feel about that?
Yeah, Blondie's pretty excited. Springfield drafted him, and I think he's going to play forward. I think he's going to play center, which we've kind of tried to transition him there a little bit for the next level because he's kind of been in between as a defenseman. He can really skate, and he's got good speed. He's a 93, and it's kind of time for him to try and do it. He started the year last year in the NA, for about the first month and a half before he was sent down. So I think he's got a good chance to make that squad and and make an impact for him. So he'll be out here tomorrow. It's always bittersweet, but you love to see your guys move up too.
Well, that's the whole point of existence, though. You guys are here to get these kids to either another hockey level or get them into school. We were talking before we went on the air that you have one of your infamous players that just graduated, Kevin Quinn.
Yeah, Kevin's definitely one of the all-time totems. I mean, he came up here as a 16-year-old, played in the PI with us when we were a midget team playing Junior B, and he's one tough dude, and he went to Franklin Pierce and just graduated after 4 years of playing D3 out there. So yeah, big shout out to him, and he's probably still to this day the biggest fan favorite of all the totems. Old tough guys, so to speak. And we've had a lot of those big mean dudes. And he's definitely one guy that if you're walking down an alley, you definitely want to be walking with Kevin and not against him. Along with Carpenter, English, Gabriel, and the rest of those guys. But yeah, good for him. I mean, that's a big deal. And,
absolutely,
we're pretty proud of him.
That's awesome. I mean, a kid that probably may have not have gone to school, thanks to hockey and the Totems getting him to where he is today. That's a big shout out not only to Kevin but to you guys as an organization. Talk to us a little bit about travel. You guys are going all over the place. They've released the schedule, and you guys are popping down to like Ontario and going over to Salt Lake City and the Bay Area.
We don't have to go to Boulder and Cheyenne, but we do. We go to Salt Lake City and Ogden, but they're back to back. So we'll drive out there. We'll stay out there and play the 3 practice at their practice rink, and then play Ogden the next weekend. So that makes it one trip, as far as driving out there and back instead of 2. We obviously go to Boise for 3. We go to Medford, I think, 3 different times for 2 game sets with them. We make a swing to Long Beach, California, but and then another one to Ontario, which is pretty much the LA area. But you know what? Those are warm weather drives, and so if you're going to go to Yellowstone or Cheyenne or Boulder or somewhere that far, why not go down to Southern California for a weekend? So we're okay with that. I mean, it's obviously a long drive, but then we've got Fresno in the Bay Area coming here, along with all the other teams in our league. So we're in our division. And then the showcase in Vegas, where we'll probably play some crossover games with like the El Pasos and the Dallases of the world, since we don't travel that far.
What's the buzz coming from the boys?
The buzz has been pretty good. I mean, I've been getting, people checking us out and obviously emailing and calling during this time of the year, because we've been lucky enough to be pretty competitive and going to nationals, 5-6 years in a row. But I think when the feedback from the better players that kind of are on everybody's list, they're pretty excited that we're playing in a better league. They know the Totems were good, but NORPAC's always been looked at as pretty bad hockey on the whole. So it's been positive. It's still tough to recruit and get guys, when it gets right down to it, because there's a lot of good teams looking for players, and they're all looking at the same guys. So I don't think it's any easier to sign anybody, but it definitely hasn't hurt, and it's helped more inquiries from possible guys, because they know that Western States is that college showcase they do in Vegas. We've talked about it before on the show with you guys. I mean, they theoretically bring in 60+ college guys, and Nationals just doesn't produce that kind of scouts. I mean, we've been there all those times. There's guys there, but not like they do there, where they bring them in and they sign in and they put their deal up on the wall and they stand there all day and watch those games for 4 days. And a lot of these kids that are playing D3 have gotten their deals done that weekend in December, and that's kind of early, but they can get them done before you get to March and April, and it kind of puts, I think, those teams at ease to get some guys, and it puts the players at ease to know where they're going. So, I wish we had a few more teams, obviously, in a little closer distance. I think down the road, maybe, depending on what NORPAC decides to do down the road with some of the franchises around here, maybe it's still, so I don't think it's done. The landscape probably isn't done. I think there's still some movement coming.
You guys have Fresno, who last year went 43-2-1, 87 points. Stud team. You saw them at the showcase last year. Then you have Idaho in your division.
I think this division is going to be tough. Obviously, Medford's getting better every day, and they beat us last year too.
So that's going to be good, though. You guys pick right up where you left off last year, different league. Same teams. So now you got something to prove. So I think that Southern Seattle rivalry will be awesome for the Western States to see. Murph, listen, we're going to let you go. We wish you the best of luck there in your open camp, and we're going to be catching up with you as time goes on as the Totems look to take on the Western States Hockey League this coming season.
Okay, well, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll definitely stay in touch. And it definitely seems like we're getting a little closer. That September 21st game, home opener against Medford, seems like it's coming fast.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking that up. In fact, depending on where we are, we may just have to make a drive up there and check out that Southern Seattle rivalry as it takes place. They're in Seattle, though, this time. Maybe not all in Southern. So hopefully it'll be good.
Those first 4 games against them, and then the next 3 against Boise, if we're not ready to go right out of the box, we could be staring down a pretty bad record after the first 7. So we definitely got a lot of work to do to get ready.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good way to start a season in a new league.
It's a learning experience all the way around, though. But, hey, listen, Murph, you guys best of luck there at the open camp, and we'll be talking to you later on.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, take care. There he is, Mike Murphy of the Seattle Totems, talking about the open camp that they have going on right now. And I think he made a really good point. A lot of young kids at the camp, future Totems, and then they get the experience to see what it actually takes to participate at this level of Junior A hockey, Tier 3. So I think great time, good information by Murph to let us know what's going up there in Totem Land.
Yeah, and those young kids, they're going to get a chance to play in that green and white game tomorrow. And you've got a lot of returning vets that'll be playing in that as well for the Totems.
Yep. So that's going to be a good thing. Listen, once again, if you'd like to get a hold of us, drop us an email, bsboysalive.com, boys with the Z. Give us a call at the line of BS, 971-258-2840. You can either leave a message or send a text. Lord knows we love text messaging. And, of course, you can always follow us on the blog, bsboys.wordpress.com. So that's going to wrap it up, folks. We do appreciate you spending time with us once again here at the Red Light District Junior Hockey Talk Show. We will be talking to you soon. Take care, everybody, and safe home.
Bye-bye.